Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV coming to you with breaking news tonight. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the Trump administration will begin carrying out a major deportation operation Tuesday morning in Chicago. Literally, the headline in the Wall Street Journal is Trump to begin large-scale deportations Tuesday. So I think this is big news. Again, this has not been confirmed by the administration. This is being reported by the Wall Street Journal. So we are going to bring you updates on this. There's some TikTok news tonight too, but we're going to focus on this now. Maybe we'll do a TikTok stream after or tomorrow, but this is what we're focusing on right now. So there's not that much information on this yet. I did want to come on the air and cover it, and we're going to take some of your comments and questions here. You can reach me during the broadcast at Lookner on X, But will we see Tuesday morning? So that's, what is that? It's like my brain isn't working. 12 hours is Saturday morning. 1, 2. It's like 84 hours from now. 84 hours from now, will there be a mass deportation raid in Chicago going on? And also, now that this has been leaked out somehow, if it's true, or if it's true that it's being planned, it's been leaked out, right? So how does that impact the raid now that it's a front page story on the Wall Street Journal and I'm already seeing Reuters has a story on it? So how's that going to impact things? Wow. So let's talk about this. Hey, thanks to our moderators for being here. We have RJ moderating. Thank you, RJ. We have Sarah55 and Rusty G and Beth Mythical all moderating over on YouTube. Thank you. Linda Belk and Larry on X. We also have moderating right now Big Ball of Yarn and Surly Dev over there on Twitch. And on Facebook, I want to thank our moderators over there. We have Kay Lowry Body and Margaret Riley over there moderating right now. Thank you. And also, I want to thank, before we begin, thanks for your support on Twitch. A cup of tea, please. Thanks for subscribing. And also, thanks so much to Party of One, our member. Thank you, Nick Robinson, for your support. PZ Papa Zulu, thank you so much for the gift memberships. Thank you, Ronnie Johansson from Kansas. Thank you, Kevin Clarkson, our new member. Chris R., our new member. Kender for the gift membership. Sargis Customs, our new member. And Kender for your support. All right, now look. There you go, right there. Let me actually fix this here. Hold on. Hold on a moment. Trump plans big immigration raid in Chicago on day 2, Wall Street Journal reports. I actually read the Wall Street Journal report myself, but I'm showing you the Reuters story about it. Trump plans big immigration raid in Chicago on day 2, Wall Street Journal reports. Spudnik says, weird thing to announce in advance. Well, it's not officially announced in advance. If this is true that they were planning this, some people told the Wall Street Journal. I think the Wall Street Journal said they talked to 4 different people. The Wall Street Journal article says that, I have it here, hold on. It says, according to, where is it here? According to 4 people familiar with the planning. So the Wall Street Journal, which is not a liberal publication, mind you, the Wall Street Journal, which I think leans to the right, They're saying 4 people who knew about this have talked to them about it. Now, why are these people talking to them about it? Is this like intentional by the administration to leak it? Or is Trump angry that this is getting leaked? Beats me. I don't know. But Wall Street Journal says 4 people they have, not one person, not 2 people, not 3 people. The Wall Street Journal said they talked to 4 different people who told them this. One of our viewers thinks it's intentional. Who was that over there on Twitch? Jada Maru. All right, let me just get into the details of this, and then we'll talk about it. Trump plans big immigration raid in Chicago on day 2. Day 2 of his administration. Monday is the inauguration, Wall Street Journal reports. Donald Trump's incoming U.S. presidential administration plans to launch a large immigration raid in Chicago the day after he takes office, the Wall Street Journal reported on Friday, citing 4 people familiar with the planning. By the way, the Wall Street Journal says it's going to last all week, this immigration raid. It's going to start Tuesday morning and last all week. The raid, expected to start on Tuesday, will last all week, the newspaper said, adding that the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE, will send between 100 and 200 officers to carry out the operation. Trump's transition team did not immediately respond to Reuters for a request to a Reuters request for comment, but a source with knowledge of the incoming administration's plans said ICE will intensify enforcement across the country and there will not be a special focus on Chicago or surge of personnel there. So that's somebody telling Reuters. A source with knowledge of the incoming administration's plans tells Reuters there won't be a special focus on Chicago. The person told Reuters, we're going to be doing operations all across the country. You're going to see arrests in New York. You're going to see arrests in Miami. Maybe there'll be more than one operation. Reuters says that Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan, told an event in Chicago that the administration is going to start right here in Chicago, Illinois, the Wall Street Journal reported. And if the Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside, said Homan. But if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors or conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him, Homan was quoted as saying. Let me just finish. There's like 3 more sentences in the article. This is the Reuters article. I'll tell you some more about the Wall Street Journal article, but let me just finish this. Reuters says immigration was at the center of Trump's campaign in the lead up to the presidential election. He said in January of 2024, within moments of my inauguration, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Trump is expected to mobilize agencies across the U.S. government to help him deport record numbers of immigrants, Reuters has reported, building on efforts in his first term to tap all available resources and pressure so-called sanctuary jurisdictions to cooperate. So again, Reuters is reporting about the Wall Street Journal article, and I'll tell you some more specifically about that. But the Wall Street Journal says that the Trump administration is going to carry out a major, large-scale deportation operation starting on Tuesday morning in Chicago. Wow. Thank you, Richard Trickle. Richard says Wall Street Journal is definitely not right-leaning. Well, they're not left-leaning. You think they're down the middle? I maintain they lean somewhat to the right. I believe that's the common assessment of them. But Richard, if you differ, that's fine. I will have to respectfully disagree with you, Richard Trickle. Thank you, Richard. Thank you also, Chaz. Chaz claims that Illinois is a sanctuary state and prohibits local law enforcement from cooperating with ICE. Could there be state resistance? There's a quote in the Wall Street Journal article that says, the Wall Street Journal article says that the Chicago police said in a statement, we will not intervene or interfere with any other government agencies performing their duties. They also said they operate under an ordinance in which they do not document immigration status or share information with federal immigration authorities. So it sounds like the Chicago Police Department said in a statement to the Wall Street Journal that they don't roughly speaking, that they don't act to help this kind of thing, but that they will not intervene or interfere with it if it happens. Thank you, Chaz. Thank you also, Rachel D., our member. Shorty says, why Chicago? Well, it's interesting what the Wall Street Journal has to say about that. The Wall Street Journal says that that the Trump administration has picked Chicago, one, because it's a sanctuary city, and they want to make an example of a sanctuary city. Sanctuary cities limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Also, the Wall Street Journal says Chicago has a large number of immigrants who could possibly be captured. And three, the Wall Street Journal says that Chicago was chosen because the Trump team has had a feud with Chicago's mayor, Democratic Mayor Brandon Johnson. So those are three reasons that the Wall Street Journal gives why Chicago is going to be targeted. L-Train says this won't go well. Look, something else I wonder is with this story, it's on the front page right now. If you go to the Wall Street Journal website, it's right on the front page there. It's like the second highest story. How are people in Chicago going to feel about this? Do you think some people who might be against this in Chicago might try to mobilize Tuesday morning and try to prevent it from happening somehow? I don't know, but it's, if this happens on Tuesday morning in Chicago, there's no real surprise anymore. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is a new story. Wall Street Journal just came out with this story. Oh, they updated their story. But I think they came out with it about an hour and a half ago. So I'm interested in seeing if there's any reporting coming out tonight from Chicago. All right, let me read some of your comments here. Oh, one other thing that I found very interesting in the Wall Street Journal report. This was especially interesting. So you might say, who is this raid going to target, right? The Wall Street Journal says that the Trump team intends to, so this is not a, we've heard this from the Trump representatives. They say the Trump team intends to target immigrants who are illegally in the U.S. who have criminal backgrounds. But the Wall Street Journal says many of their offenses, like driving violations, made them too minor for the Biden administration to pursue. So the article implies that illegal immigrants with criminal backgrounds will be targeted, even if they have minor offenses like driving violations. But check this out. The article says that the people with knowledge of this operation, who the Wall Street Journal talked to, the people told the Wall Street Journal that if anyone else in the U.S. illegally is present during arrest, they will be taken too. So what the Wall Street Journal says they're hearing is that the raid will target people with criminal backgrounds, even minor, but that if other people are present who are in the country illegally, who don't have a criminal background, they will be taken too. That's what the Wall Street Journal article says. Wow. So that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. Also, as you can see, it says ICE will send, Reuters says, the Wall Street Journal said that ICE will send between 100 and 200 officers to carry out the operation. I want to take some more comments from you guys. By the way, a quick thanks to Robin for your support. Thank you to Andrew L. Andrew says, provided the right people get arrested, we'll see. Thanks to Lynn Maycroft, our new member of Bebop and Rocksteady, who says, we've heard them talk about this since forever. I'm not surprised. It's what the majority of eligible voters supported a few weeks ago. Thank you, Darting Around Ohio. Darting Around Ohio, now I have no idea this is true. Darting Around Ohio claims many agents I work with have started to deploy this evening. Thank you, Jesus UCSB, by the way. Let's see here. One of our viewers, Pineapple Breast, says, will this help with the price of eggs? Space Fraggle says that means their families read between the lines. So what Space Fraggle is saying is that you could have somebody who has a criminal record who's here illegally, and if their family member is here with them but doesn't have a criminal record but is also here illegally, yes, according to the Wall Street Journal article, they would be targeted too. Michael Burmester says, where are they going to process them? The airport, maybe. Lizzie says, I don't see how anyone can think this is a bad thing. Stickler for Change says, so they will be arresting truck drivers and deliveries will slow down. I'm sure people in Chicago are starting to hear about this report tonight. Are people in Chicago who maybe they've been there for years, but they don't have legal status in this country? Are they leaving Chicago tonight? I don't know. Andrew Gordon says, WTF, this will not go well. Buck Down says, it's going to be an exciting week. Chemo thinks this will not go well. The bad guys, says Chemo, will have plenty of time to prepare a response/defense. ICE better watch their backs. JFed says, interesting to see how this goes if when someone dies. I hope that doesn't happen. All right, let's talk. Thanks to Jamdraw. Thanks to Panda 3000. Panda 3000 says, quite scary. Thank you to Turned Off. Turned Off says, illegal immigrants working Mar-a-Lago won't be taken. I'm not aware of any illegal immigrants working there. That's our viewer Turned Off said. Thank you, Shaft, for the gift memberships. Joe says, how does this apply to people under TPS? Joe, I don't know if you're here under temporary protected status, I think you're asking about that, then you're here legally. The idea of the raid is that it's targeting people who are here illegally. Just to be clear here, Wikipedia says temporary protected status is given by the United States government to eligible nationals of designated countries as determined by the Secretary of Homeland Security who are present in the United States. They grant, so that would, again, if temporary protected status allows beneficiaries to live and in some cases work in the U.S. for a limited amount of time. So you would not be here illegally if you're here under temporary protected status, unless the administration changed who gets temporary protected status. But that has not happened yet. Okay, let's talk some more about this. Will there be more that, this is just coming out tonight. I think it's a really big story. And it's going to be a huge deal if it happens. Richard Trickle, thank you, Richard, he says, might this be a decoy for a different city? I don't know. 4 people leaked this to the Wall Street Journal for some reason, right? Wall Street Journal said they talked to 4 different people with knowledge of this. Elizabeth says Trump isn't going to tell any news station what his plans are. Trixie Silver thinks they are testing the public's willingness to ignore the suffering of strangers. Of course, they won't be careful to ensure prioritization of criminal, illegal folks or protect families. Learn to Code says they say Chicago, but obviously they're going to target New York. Yumi says, will they be imprisoned in concentration camps until deported? All right, let's go over some of the details of this again, this new report tonight. Thank you, by the way, to Humberto Pombo, who says they better come to Texas after the purge is real. Thank you, Nikos Kostianis, who claims the raid started a few days ago in Bakersfield, California. Well, no raids happening now would be Trump administration raids because Trump is not president yet. He is only president on Monday after his inauguration. There could be ongoing raids, but that would be a Biden administration raid. Thank you, Lady Tiger Official and Pink Volo, our member, CJ, and also Ohio Rando. Ohio Rando, the paper didn't say exactly who they talked to. I don't think they made this up. They know who they talked to. They said it's 4 people with, the language they use is they said they talked to 4 people familiar with the planning. So they are confident enough in these sources, who they know who they are. The sources did not want their names to be used, apparently, for understandable reasons. And that's what they're being told. So, again, the Wall Street Journal knows exactly who they are. They're just not revealing their names. So that's a lot of people, though. That's not 1 person, that's 4. But who those people are, we don't know. Our viewer asked, can President Biden give a pardon to all illegal immigrants for all crimes they may or may have committed like he did for his son? Well, first of all, that's not going to happen. But hypothetically, I believe he can pardon anyone he wants for federal crimes. But that won't... That doesn't change. He can't change people's immigration status, right? So if somebody is not legally in the U.S., even if Joe Biden was to say, hey, this person, I pardon that person for anything they might have done, any federal crime they might have broken, that doesn't change their immigration status. You can't try them. You can't then charge them with a federal crime, but it doesn't make them here legally. So they would be subject to removal. He's not going to do it anyway. It's a hypothetical question from our viewer. All right, let's go over, can he pardon a non-citizen? Well, I believe non-citizens can be prosecuted, so my guess would be, I don't really want to spend 10 minutes on this hypothetical question about presidential pardon power, which I don't think is particularly relevant to the story, but my guess would be that since anybody, even non-citizens, can be charged with federal crimes, I would assume that President Biden could pardon a non-citizen for federal crimes. But if you, with your permission, I'm going to avoid doing any more research on that hypothetical question because I think it's a bit tangential to the big story at hand. So I appreciate your understanding. The New York Post has an article tonight, by the way. The New York Post headline is ICE officers prepping for big effing operation across sanctuary cities immediately after Trump inauguration. The New York Post has a story tonight. News story from the New York Post. I just saw this. I'm going to read you this headline again. Oh, ICE officers prepping for big effing operation across sanctuary cities immediately after Trump inauguration. So the New York Post says that immigrations and ICE officers, immigrations and customs enforcement are preparing to launch a big effing operation across sanctuary cities, including Chicago and New York, immediately after Trump's inauguration. Multiple sources tell the New York Post. Starting on Tuesday. It's basically the same story. It's kind of the same story. The New York Post says starting on Tuesday, a multi-day ground operations will be launched across cities that have served as safe havens to migrants because the local authorities do not cooperate with the federal government when it comes to immigration issues, sources said. The massive sweep is likely to target people with removal orders, says the New York Post. A source told the New York Post that certain ICE offices have paused arrests already to make room in detention centers for the targets of the upcoming raids. Wow. They also say, the New York Post says that Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, was on Fox News tonight. And he was asked about the report or reports of a big raid in Chicago. And he said several cities should expect ICE operations after the inauguration. Homan told Jesse Waters on Fox it's going to be a big raid across the country. He said on Tuesday, ICE is going to go out and do their job. All right, so again, new story out tonight from the New York Post. The headline is ICE officers prepping for big effing operation across sanctuary cities immediately after Trump inauguration. They say that it will start on Tuesday. It will be a multi-day ground operation, and it will include sanctuary cities, including Chicago and New York. Wow. So that's a different story. That's from the New York Post. I got to post something about that too. Hold on a second. We'll take some comments in a second. It's an interesting claim in this article that one source said certain ICE offices have already paused arrests to make room in detention centers for the targets of the upcoming raids. All right, hang on a moment. Hang on a moment. So that's the second report, kind of similar report tonight. Okay, so a quick thank you, by the way, to Mufasa says, how will this lower the cost of eggs and milk? Thank you to Ron Dykeman, our member. Oops, hang on a moment here. Thanks to BDK for your support from Australia. Thank you, Panda 3000, who says good luck in the next few days. Thank you, Ohio Rando. Bass 300, thank you, who says it'll be interesting to see how the cost and availability of certain services would be affected by this, and if they'd call it further inflation. Thank you to our members Lisa and KC, who KC says thinks this won't be limited to just Chicago. Thanks Flexburger. Thank you Louis R. That's very kind of you. Louis R. says, my one comment would be it's actually the Biden administration that pursued more novel policies in this area. President Obama conducted many large-scale immigration raids. Obama started Operation Crosscheck. Thank you, Louis R. Very nice of you. Thank you also, Jackie Johnston. Very nice of you, Jackie Johnston, who says it's about time people voted in the majority for a reason. Thanks also to K-Nut. K-Nut says this happened in the 50s and thousands of American citizens of Mexican descent were deported in the raids. Latinos are now second-class citizens. Thanks, Caleb Brock, for your support. I got to take some more comments here. Give me 1 second. All right, so I'm going to read some more comments in a second. We have the Wall Street Journal reporting tonight that Trump plans a major immigration raid. He planned in Chicago on Tuesday morning that will last all week. And the New York Post is reporting that on Tuesday, a multi-city ground operation by ICE will begin. And in sanctuary cities, including Chicago and New York. And the New York Post says the operation will target people with removal orders, people who are in the country illegally and who've been ordered to leave. But I don't know what specific circumstances those people might have. Wow. Jojo I Am says, wow, not going to be good in Chicago. All you know what going to break out. Kim Carter says, next week is going to be crazy. One of our viewers said, how far out into the suburbs will the deportation effort go in Chicago? That I cannot tell you. Kaylee N says, this won't be good. Greyhound Player says, I hope nobody gets killed. Silent Owl Scribe says the illegal immigrants broke the law. I think Trump will focus on violent gang members and others who were criminals back home or who committed crimes here in the USA. Hippie Mimi says interesting days ahead. Real Change says loving it. One of our viewers said, sorry, the comments are flying by. Let me just try to stop and read some of these. I can slow this down a little bit for myself. Kaylee says this won't be good. All right, let's give you some more background here. Mr. Magoo says if it doesn't happen, Steve, your credibility will be in question. My credibility? Did this story run in the Steve Times? In the Steve Daily News? No. It's a Wall Street Journal story. If it doesn't happen, then take it up with the Wall Street Journal. Also, the New York Post posted a similar story tonight. So take it up with them. Thank you, Brian Beelman. Brian says something new. Thank you, Brian Beelman. Also, thank you to Missouri Mahler. Missouri Mahler says the cartels will be going out with a bang. They claim to want to incite terror as revenge. I hope if this happens, there's no violence. Thank you, Reginator. Reginator says, how do they know who to target? Well, for example, if they decide to target people with criminal records, it's whatever people they know of that have criminal records here in the U.S. or criminal records that they're aware of where they're from. I don't know what kind of records ICE has on people, but if for example, they're targeting people with criminal records, they would be the people that they have records of, that they have evidence that those people have criminal records. But maybe they'll target a different group of people. That I don't know. But maybe they have intelligence work they have done. They might have a list of people and addresses where they believe the people are. Thank you, Wagner Guter. Thank you, Jersey, Texas. Who says there was a Remain Mexico committee hearing yesterday? That I did not see. I'm not familiar with what that is. I might have to check out your link later, Jersey, Texas. Thank you. Thank you, Just Me. Just Me says CBS reports Stockton and Sacramento too. I haven't seen that report yet. That is not a video. That is not a report I've seen. But I'll check. I'll see if I see it. Okay, let's see here. I haven't seen that report. Thank you, Connor Garrity, who says, will FBI be involved also? I haven't seen any report of that. The reports I see say ICE is going to carry it out, but I don't know for sure. Thank you, Connor Garrity. I don't know why they would be involved. I mean, I don't know enough about the legality, the law behind all of this to know when the FBI gets involved and doesn't get involved. Could it get involved if people are suspected of committing federal crimes? I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you, unfortunately. Thank you also to Bebop and Rocksteady and Yastreb. All right, let me give you some background here. Bebop and Rocksteady says a lot of people here worried about losing their cheap labor and access to low-cost goods. Quit trying to enslave Latinos for your convenience. We shouldn't subject people to this. Let them go home. Jeremy says, let the Trump circus begin. Thank you, Jeremy. All right, let's take a second here. Let's take a second. Let's talk about this report. Hold on. Just hang on a second. We got developing news tonight. All right, let's talk about the Wall Street Journal report. All right, let's talk about that because we only talked about it once right at the beginning. So a lot of people might not know what we're talking about right now. So let's talk about that. Let's take a second, slow down, and talk about that. So the Wall Street Journal tonight is reporting that Trump will begin a big, major deportation operation in Chicago on Tuesday morning, that it'll last all week. So let's talk a little bit about this report here. Now, while I'm showing you the Reuters article where it says, and I have the Wall Street Journal article too, which I've read. Trump plans big immigration raid in Chicago on day 2, which would be Tuesday. Wall Street Journal reports. Donald Trump's incoming U.S. presidential administration plans to launch a large immigration raid in Chicago the day after he takes office, the Wall Street Journal reported on Friday, citing 4 people familiar with planning. The raid, expected to start on Tuesday, will last all week, the Wall Street Journal said, adding that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE, will send between 100 and 200 officers to carry out the operation. Trump's transition team did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment, but a source with knowledge of the incoming administration's plans said ICE will intensify enforcement across the country, and there will not be a special focus on Chicago or surge of personnel there. We're going to be doing operations all across the country, the person said. You're going to see arrests in New York. You're going to see arrests in Miami. Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan, told an event in Chicago. I don't know when that was. I don't know that. I don't think it was necessarily tonight. The Wall Street Journal said that that was during a holiday party. During a holiday party, which I assume was weeks ago, I don't know for sure. During a holiday party, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, told an event in the Chicago area, that the administration is going to start right here in Chicago, Illinois. And if the Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside. But if he does, if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors or conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him, Homan was quoted as saying. The article also says immigration was at the center of Trump's campaign in the lead up to the presidential election. He had said, within moments of my inauguration, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Trump is expected to mobilize agencies across the U.S. government to help him deport record numbers of immigrants, Reuters has reported, building on efforts in his first term to tap all available resources and pressure so-called sanctuary jurisdictions to cooperate. What other agencies might be involved, I don't know. So that's a summary of what the Wall Street Journal said. And a couple other things I want to point out about the Wall Street Journal article, if you give me a second here, is you might say, why, according to the Wall Street Journal, are they targeting Chicago? Well, the Wall Street Journal article says that Trump's transition team wanted to make an example of sanctuary cities, which are cities which adopt policies limiting cooperation with federal immigration authorities. So one reason they're targeting Chicago, according to the Wall Street Journal, is that it's a sanctuary city. Another reason is that there are a large number of potential immigrant targets there. And a third reason, according to the Wall Street Journal, they're targeting Chicago is that the Trump team has a feud with the Democratic Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago. Also, something else which was interesting in that Wall Street Journal article is it said that the Trump team intends to target illegal immigrants with criminal backgrounds. But the Wall Street Journal says many of those criminal backgrounds include offenses like driving violations, which were too minor for the Biden administration to pursue. But, this is an important sentence in the Wall Street Journal article, but the people the Wall Street Journal talked to said, if anyone else in the country is here, if anyone else in the country illegally is present during an arrest, they will be taken too. Okay? So that's right from the Wall Street Journal article. They say the people they talked to told them that the raid will, or raids if it's raids, will target people here illegally with criminal records, even if minor violations or minor accusations, possibly. What if they have just charges and they haven't been convicted? If they haven't been tried for those charges yet. But the Wall Street Journal says that the raid will target those here illegally with criminal backgrounds, even if minor, but also that if anyone is there during the arrest who is in the country illegally, even if they have no criminal backgrounds, they will be taken too. In a Sea of Rabbits says it's going to be a crazy 4 years. PH says, aren't they breaking the law by being here illegally? I think you can understand that what the point is. When they say targeting people with criminal backgrounds, they're obviously, in that sentence, criminal backgrounds does not include any criminality of being here illegally, because then the sentence would basically be meaningless. It would not tell you anything. So I think you can understand what they mean by that. Let's see here. Michelle Batten says, what's sad is he thinks just because he's president, he thinks he can do whatever to control people or destroy lives. I can't think of the right words to say. Nicolette Chloe says, what about U.S. citizens who may house undocumented immigrants? Nothing in the articles I've seen is saying that U.S. citizens would be targeted. But I can't speak to what would happen if they thought that a U.S. citizen was harboring somebody. I mean, I haven't seen anything about targeting those people. AMC Jeep MJ says, there is no way this could possibly backfire in any fashion. None. That was a sarcastic comment, I believe. Artman says, this is like a breath of fresh air. Fred Witherow says, the coming storm. So that is the Wall Street Journal, what they're saying. I think they might have updated their article. Let me just see if they added anything more. They said, again, the Wall Street Journal said the raid's going to begin Tuesday morning and last all week. The Wall Street Journal also says other large immigrant centers such as New York, LA, Denver, and Miami are also in the incoming administration's sights, and more targeted raids could come. Also, as I said before, the Wall Street Journal said the Chicago Police Department said it operates under the city's welcoming city ordinance, where they don't document immigration status or share information with federal immigration authorities. But the Chicago police told the Wall Street Journal, we will not intervene or interfere with any other government agencies performing their duties. So is this going to happen on Tuesday? And as I mentioned, the New York Post has their own story tonight. The New York Post story, the headline is ICE officers prepping for big effing operation across sanctuary cities immediately after Trump inauguration. And the New York Post says, starting on Tuesday, same day that the Wall Street Journal says, there will be multi-day ground operations across cities that have served as safe havens for migrants, sanctuary cities, including Chicago and New York. So the Wall Street Journal is also saying that there's going to be a major operation in Chicago starting on Tuesday, but they also say it'll happen in New York and possibly other sanctuary cities. That's what the New York Post is saying. And the New York Post is saying that this ground operation is likely to target people with removal orders. All right, I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to do a little poll question. My poll question is going to be, will there be a major operation, a major deportation operation in Chicago starting Tuesday? Which both the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal are saying. All right, I just posted the question over there on YouTube. I'm going to post it on Twitch right now. Michael for reals thinks 200 officers is nothing. Twitch makes me like really shorten the questions. So on Twitch, I'm asking the question on Twitch, will there be a major operation in Chicago Tuesday? I mean a deportation operation. But on Twitch, they give me so few characters to write the question that I have to shorten it. So Twitch viewers, just know the poll question has been shortened. Let me also throw it up there on Facebook. I wish there was a way I could just post it all at once on all the platforms, but I can't. I got to post it individually every time. So I'm just throwing it up there. Where is this here? Why can't I? Oh, I see what's happening. Sorry about this. Such a pain on Facebook. Got to like open up a different page to post a poll. It's so slow. I'm going to show you the results on Twitch and YouTube now. I still haven't even been able to post it yet on Facebook because everything's so slow over there. I'm finally posting it on Facebook. Okay, thanks for your patience. Okay, I asked you guys, will there be a major deportation operation in Chicago on Tuesday, as the Wall Street Journal reported and the New York Post is reporting tonight? I asked you guys, will there be? So, in our YouTube chat, the current vote on this question is 78% say yes. 22% say no. On Twitch, the current vote on this question is 60% say yes, 40% say no. And on Facebook, I'm going to tell you right now, Facebook, 82% say yes, 18% say no. Our viewer, Eriting Chris, says it will start. KP, thank you for being a member. KP says, I thought he was ending the Ukraine war on Tuesday. Thank you, Martin Gingrich. Martin Gingrich says, chill out, chat. They can come in legally like the other immigrants, but they have to be vetted properly. The American people voted for this. Thank you, Randy. Randy says, anything about DACA recipients? I have seen nothing specific about DACA. Well, hold on a second here. But just to be clear, it's unclear. So DACA is a U.S. immigration policy that allows some individuals who were physically present in the United States on June 15, 2012, with no lawful immigration status after having entered the country as children at least 5 years earlier, receive a renewable 2-year period of deferred action from deportation. And blah, 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 blah. An appeal was brought before the United States Court of Appeals in the Fifth Circuit to determine whether a federal district court order that would terminate the codified form of DACA based on its being a violation of federal law was upheld. So right now, it's in court right now whether the DACA policy will continue. Because a federal district court ordered that the policy end in 2023. I don't know exactly what the status is right now of that, but it's oral argument in an appeals court case on it was heard on October 10th, 2024. So that's being worked out in the courts. But that's not but the policy is not a law, right? That wasn't a law that was passed. Wasn't that an administration who was carrying it out? Because if it's not a law, if it's just something that a presidential administration carries out, well, then the Trump administration could be like, well, we're not going to do that. It's not a law. Let me check something out. Yeah, DACA was established by Barack Obama. CNN had an article 4 hours ago that said DACA dealt a legal setback by federal appeals court. A federal appeals court today dealt the immigration program known as DACA a legal setback, keeping the program alive but teeing up a showdown at the Supreme Court. The Court of Appeals, a 3-judge panel in the Court of Appeals today, unanimously ruled that DACA policy was unlawful, but said a federal judge in Texas erred in concluding the entire program should be halted nationwide. All right, so, but that's not a law. I don't want to get. Also, something else I want to point out is. In 2017, the Trump administration announced it was rescinding the DACA policy. So anyways, DACA is not a protection from law. Then there's an article from December of 2024 in NPR that says DACA recipients skeptical after Trump says he wants to protect them. So we'll see what Trump's policy on people who have been protected by the DACA program, people who came here as children, basically before mid-2012. It's an interesting question. Hang on a moment here. So I think the question was like something like, hold on a second. By the way, I still have this, the final results of the poll were, I don't even know what the final results on Twitch were. But on YouTube, the final results on YouTube, as I'm wrapping up the poll there, is 77% of the people who voted on YouTube think that there will be a major deportation operation in Chicago starting Tuesday. On Facebook, the result was 86% said yes. I think yes, one on Twitch too, but I didn't see the end. Hold on. I got distracted. With regards to DACA, I guess the idea would be, the relevance here would be, if somebody has been protected under the DACA policy, would they be protected from one of these raids? And the answer is, I don't know what to tell you. Because I don't know what the Trump administration's attitude toward it will be. I want to read some more comments here. A lot of comments. I want to read some more. Randy says, I feel for DACA people. It's called Dreamers, right? Am I right about that? Yeah, Dreamers, I believe, are the people who would be protected by DACA. Randy says, I feel for DACA protectees because they came here as kids and don't know anything but the U.S. as home. That's what Randy says. Thank you, Randy. Pam D'Angelo thinks all hell is going to break out. Again, we're covering multiple reports say that the Trump administration will begin carrying out a big immigration raid in Chicago on Tuesday. The Wall Street Journal says it's going to happen. It's going to start in Chicago, this big immigration raid, and last all week. The New York Post says on Tuesday there will be raids starting in multiple sanctuary cities, including New York and Chicago. Thanks, by the way, to Missouri Mauler and 3 Evil Bunny for the gift membership, and Marnie for the gift membership, and the Polish Drunk. The Polish Drunk says DACA is a policy, not a law. Thank you, KP. KP says using federal power against weak people is easy, promise kept, but Trump is afraid of Putin. That promise will be broken. No Ukraine deal on Tuesday. Yeah, I don't think there's any reporting that says there's going to be a Ukraine deal on Tuesday or anytime soon. Robin says Arctic blast, dangerously freezing temps heading toward many, especially Chicago. The weather forecast for Chicago on Tuesday is a high of 6 and a low of 6. I'm looking at the Google weather forecast right now. A high of 6 and a low of 6. I'm not making that up. That's what it says. High of 6, low of 6. Weather Channel says high of 6, low of 2. It's going to be a cold day in Chicago on Tuesday. Missouri Mauler says Mexico has agreed to take rejects. I don't know what Mexico's policy is going to be under Trump to taking people back. Missouri Mauler says, I keep seeing the claim that countries won't take their citizens back. It doesn't matter. Mexico has agreed to take rejects. I don't know if this is true. And I don't know what all the various countries' policies under this is going to be under Trump's administration. All right. Hang on a moment here. Hang on a moment. Let me shout out our mods, by the way, again. Oh, thanks, by the way, Fifth Survivor. Thank you, Fifth Survivor, for the bits. Fifth Survivor says it's about time we get all the illegals out of the country. Thank you, M. Demery, for the subscription, for subscribing on Twitch. Thanks you also, Mr. 26.2 for the bits on Twitch. And thank you, Streeter4646 for subscribing on Twitch. And hi, I'm Evil Monkey for subscribing on Twitch. Sorry, I'm a little behind on the Twitch thank yous. My bad. Thanks, hi, I'm Evil Monkeys for the gift subscription. Thanks also to Quake Clouds for subscribing on Twitch. Thank you to It Dark Ghost for subscribing on Twitch. And a cup of tea, please. Okay, and shout out to our moderators. We have moderating right now Beth Mythical, Roberts May Queen, they're over there in the YouTube chat, Sabrina, over on Twitch, Surly Dev, Papa Bear, McBritches, on Facebook. Oops, I got to pull that up. I know we had Kay Lowry Body and Margaret Riley, Linda Belk and Larry on X. Bud Green is moderating. Thank you, Bud. Thank you for subscribing, Marie Goodson Hamilton and Leanne Tucknor on Facebook. All right. Is there any more reporting on this tonight? The story just came out. The New York Post and Wall Street Journal stories just came out tonight. KC says, I wonder if these countries will allow these flights to land. As I said before, I mean, this is these stories coming out tonight, and this, especially in particular this one in the Wall Street Journal about Chicago. This is going to certainly be big news in Chicago, and could you have a situation where this is 3 days in advance, where people who are opposed to this in Chicago look at this and they say, we got to do something to stop this. And, it's, and set up some sort of resistance operation. I don't know what that would be, but, there's no surprise anymore about it now that it's being reported, if it does end up happening on Tuesday. Amy 6 thinks it was leaked to cause chaos. It is a good question why why 4 people with knowledge of the situation talked to the Wall Street Journal about it. Hang on a moment. David Axelrod, who is a prominent Democratic political commentator, and he says he thinks that Trump is not betting on the cooperation of big city mayors and Democratic governors on deportations. He's counting on their opposition. He values them as foils. So it sounds like David Axelrod's theory is that Trump wants there to be resistance to this, so he can point at them and say, look, they're resisting this. Look, if that's true, if Trump wants there to be resistance to this, that would be a reason that this is leaked, right? Because if it's leaked in advance, you're more likely to have some sort of organized resistance to the operation. Now, I don't know why it was leaked. Some people went to the Wall Street Journal and talked about this. Why did they do that? I have no idea. K-Nut says Trump wants his own Night of the Long Knives? That's what K-Nut says. I mean, that refers to something during the Hitler era, a purge of Nazi party members and political opponents in Nazi Germany in 1934. There's no reporting that that the intention here is to harm or kill anyone, just to be clear. Thank you to Sandman Evil. Thank you to Neil Johnson. Thank you again, K-Nut. Thank you, Bebop and Rocksteady, who says the heartless ones are those who want to keep people here to be taken advantage of by corporations who don't pay well. Thank you, Sunflower, our new member. Now, if there what if the New York Post is right and there are going to be raids on Tuesday in multiple sanctuary cities, including New York and Chicago, the day after the inauguration, maybe the morning after the inauguration, that could be, you could have a lot of scenes in various cities. That could certainly be a big event in terms of the public consciousness. That'd be quite a story. Big public raids. Ladybug Lisa thinks he wants resistance, otherwise he would go to friendly locations first. Cooking with JW claims that Trump doesn't know how to govern, so this whole thing is about creating a chaotic distraction. Thoria says, I was told America was going to be great again after this change. I don't know how to feel now. Some of our viewers really support this idea of a big immigration raid in Chicago on day 2. Some are not in support of it. Yowzer Doinkasaurus says this feels like a bluff. MEMT Pirate thinks the New York Post is right and that there will be raids in multiple sanctuary cities on Tuesday. Remember also, interesting part of the New York Post story is the New York Post said that they talked to a source who said that certain ICE offices have already paused arrests to make room in detention centers for the targets of the upcoming raids. Thank you so much, Eric, for your support. Thank you, Sunflower says it will be a cold day for ICE. Thanks, Sandman Evil, our new member. Thor's Beard says any information on exact cities for ICE operations? No, the only thing, Wall Street Journal says Chicago, and it says that other raids are possible in other cities. The Wall Street Journal is saying that they're hearing Chicago, but they also have a quote about, they say other large immigrant centers such as New York, Los Angeles, Denver, and Miami are also in the administration sites, and more targeted raids could come. The New York Post is saying that it's going to be multiple sanctuary cities starting on Tuesday, including Chicago and New York. I don't have the details beyond that. And again, I don't know if these reports are true. That's what just the reports say. Let's see here. Babalu thinks Wall Street Journal needs to name their sources. Highly suspect to give the opponents plenty of time to protest and cause chaos. Well, again, my guess is that the sources don't want to be named. So I'm guessing if the sources said use my name, the Wall Street Journal would use their name. I mean, if you think... yes, I agree that it certainly gives a heads up to the city that it's coming. But that's why I was trying to think, why might people in the Trump administration want to leak this? We've been talking about some different theories. Yeah, Deshark sent me a story from ABC7 where the headline says mass deportation fears grow among Chicago food cart vendors, CPS families. But this story is not. It's not like a response to the report in the Wall Street Journal and the report in the New York Post. It just talks about concerns about what will happen when Trump takes office. And there have been concerns among immigrants that you could have, raids. But I have not yet seen a story about local reaction in Chicago to the reports tonight from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post. Thank you, Deshark, to sending that in. One person ABC7 talked to in Chicago said, I think a lot of food vendors in Chicago are going to get affected because a lot of people that are food vendors are undocumented. Thank you, Deshark, for sending that in. Murph says, whether it be the U.S. or Canada, come here legally and you won't have any issues. Oh, somebody sent me something else? Hold on. Arkshire says, any word on our debt scheduled to default the day after Trump takes office? No, the U.S. will not default on their debt because there's measures that, for a while, there's measures that I think the Treasury Department can take. So that's not happening right after he takes office. Yeah, look, U.S. Treasury to launch measures to avoid debt limit breach on Tuesday. I don't want to get into this, right now because it's a bit of a different topic. But Reuters, for example, says Treasury Secretary Yellen said that the government will reach its statutory borrowing limit on Tuesday and begin employing extraordinary measures to keep from breaching the cap and risking a potential catastrophic default. Eventually, though, you will have to have new spending approved, or the debt limit raised. There's big TikTok news tonight too. I was going to do a TikTok stream before this. And then this came out and I wanted to talk about this. So I don't know if I want to do a TikTok stream this late after this. I mean, some of you will say do it, but I can do it tomorrow too. I'll have to see how I feel after this. TikTok said tonight, the statements issued today by both the Biden White House and the Department of Justice have failed to provide the necessary assurance to the service providers that are integral to maintaining TikTok's availability to over 170 million Americans, unless the Biden administration immediately provides a definitive statement to satisfy the most critical service providers assuring non-enforcement. Unfortunately, TikTok will be forced to go dark on Sunday, January 19th. So that's a whole other thing that's happening. I don't want to get into that on this stream. It's too different a topic. Our viewer Hypocrite Watch says Trump has promised easy things, hard things, and cruel things. I'll let you guess if he's going to do the hard one or not. I think by hard one, maybe Hypocrite Watch means, for example, end war in Ukraine. Rurally in Yart says the raids. Our viewer says the raids are going to be wonderful. It's going to be a week of celebrations. I mean, I don't think everybody will be celebrating if there are raids. The people raided will not be celebrating, for example. I've seen people say in the chat, one of our viewers said, raids have started in my city already. I'll say this again. Trump is not president yet. If there is a raid in your city, that is a Biden administration raid. Trump can't order any raids yet. He's not the president. Fox 32 Chicago just picked up the Wall Street Journal story. They now have a story on Fox 32 Chicago. It's the second story down on their homepage. Trump administration to begin large-scale immigration raids in Chicago next week, reports say. Oh, I think they were quoted. They're probably talking about both of those. But they say Wall Street Journal, but also the New York Post as well. So hold on a second. They say that the Wall Street Journal says the Trump administration will begin large-scale immigration raids in Chicago on Tuesday. It's a pretty short story. I haven't seen, also, I've been looking for it. It's a very short story in Fox 32 Chicago, but they have picked up the story now. So I have not seen a comment yet on the Wall Street Journal story or the New York Post story, which also says there's going to be a raid starting in Chicago on Tuesday. I have not seen a response yet from the governor of Chicago, the governor of Illinois, or the mayor of Chicago yet. If I do while we're on the air, I'll let you know. But are we going to, is this what's going to happen Monday? Is the Trump administration planning maybe not just Chicago? The New York Post says multiple sanctuary cities. But is the Trump administration planning like showy raids on Tuesday where you're going to see on the news like live shots of like ICE officers in armored vehicles bashing down doors and walking people out, using flashbangs? I don't know. Is this like a whole show that's planned for Tuesday? I have no idea. Yeah, Ron Lolordo says like a perp walk. Maybe it's a whole showy thing that's planned. Sunny Day says not showing all business. Zer Orites says probably a show. Soulstar says I don't think violence should be called a show. Gen Xer says people seem surprised about the raids. Is that because we are not used to politicians doing as they promise? Chi-Town Bear thinks it's just speculation because Trump has said day one in office he was going to start deporting people? Chi thinks it was leaked, so they fight back. Yeah, so this is certainly something to keep in mind for Tuesday. I haven't seen any more reports about this coming out during our stream here. Again, these two reports from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and the New York Post just came out tonight in the last few hours. There might be a bunch. You know what? Also, I have to think that other outlets are now looking into this because you know what I'm saying? Like now that the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post have run these stories tonight, I'm guessing other outlets are going to be looking to report something about this too. So you might see more stories coming out the next couple days. By the way, thanks to Panda 3000 for the gift memberships and cartoon maps. Thank you, Neil Johnson. Neil Johnson says, why is this headline news? Trump has been saying for a long time, mass deportation on day one. It's like I'm in the Twilight Zone here. Well, I mean, if somebody promises something will happen, and that thing in itself is a big important thing, then it would be news when it happens. I think it's news if you have a date for it. So, I mean, the idea is, you know, I think that the news story isn't that so much that Trump is planning to conduct deportation operations. I think the news aspect of it is that this is a specific report or reports with a specific date and a specific city. Audiobooks channel says, let's see how this plays out. Nan B thinks it's all a media show. Thank you so much, Neil Johnson. I appreciate it. But Neil and others say that Trump has been promising things like this, so he doesn't think that people should be surprised. Thank you, Kieran, who thinks we're on a sinking ship. Thank you, Martin Gingrich. Martin says, I own a small construction business. I believe this will give me more work. Thank you, Watch Ma'am, our new member. Thanks, Crazy Yoda, who says, has this been confirmed from the Trump camp? No, because they would report that, but the Trump camp did not respond to a request for comment from the Wall Street Journal. Crazy Yoda says, if leaked, they could just pick another time to start enforcement. Be interesting to see the traffic crossing back into Mexico in the coming days. Thank you, Spaniard PR, by the way, and Kender. Kender says this might turn bad. Dodger Blue, thank you. Dodger Blue thinks martial law by Friday. Thank you, Brian Beelman. Brian says, I love the media hype. Thank you, Matthew Felty. Bondi and Nome will find out why and who leaked. Well, again, the Wall Street Journal said they talked to 4 people with knowledge of the operation. It could be people who leaked it and it was supposed to be kept private. But it also could be people who are intentionally leaking it because the administration wants it to be leaked. So when you're thinking about this, you should think about both of those possibilities. Why might the administration want this to be leaked? I read you a quote from David Axelrod that his opinion, Democratic political commentator David Axelrod, his opinion is that the Trump administration wants resistance, that they want a foil, that they want, for example, the governor or the mayor to resist. Mason D thinks it is not a leak. We'll do one more poll. Was this intentionally leaked by the Trump administration? Like they want it out there that this is going to happen? Or is it like some rogue operators inside the administration who know about it? All right. I'm only doing this one on Twitch and YouTube because maybe I can do it on Facebook. It's such a pain to do this on Facebook. They make it so difficult. It's a pain in the butt. I hate it. They should just make it easy. I'll do it on Facebook, fine. Even though they make it a big pain in the butt. Ugh. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you what I said. So what people said. So I said, was this intentionally leaked by the Trump administration? Where basically they said, hey, a few of you people call the Wall Street Journal and tell them this is coming. Okay, so I asked you guys over on YouTube, your vote on YouTube is 2/3 of the YouTube voters say, yes, this was an intentional leak by the Trump administration. It's also 2/3 on Facebook. 2/3 say yes. And over there on Twitch, the result on Twitch is even bigger. 74% believe this was intentionally leaked by the Trump administration. What did I do here? Hold on. Thank you, Social Sharing LLC, who says, I live in Wisconsin, which means there is about to be a large influx in illegal immigrants coming over the weekend. You think people will leave Chicago and go elsewhere, go to other states? Thank you, JM, who says, the use of anonymous sources is tacky and uncredible journalism. Could be that a group is trying to stir up mass riots. Again, the Wall Street Journal knows who they're... So what you think about anonymous sources is up to you. But it's not anonymous in that the Wall Street Journal knows who they're talking about, who knows who they're talking to. It's not the case that the Wall Street Journal, the phone rings there, and they pick it up, and somebody whispers to them, hey, I got this story for you. I'm in the Trump administration. I'm not going to tell you who I am, and they're planning this leak. They're planning this raid on Tuesday. Bye. Click. No, they're not going to run that. They know who they're talking to. They have verified who they're talking to. But the people don't want to go on the record. So they know who they're... It's anonymous to us, but it's not anonymous to the Wall Street Journal, just to be clear. Now, you might not like them using anonymous sources that way, but some people go to news outlets and don't want to be quoted by name for various reasons. But they know who they're talking to. Thank you, JM. So it's not some other people pretending to be Trump administration officials. They know who they're talking to. But as to why whoever did it, that was close enough to this operation that the Wall Street Journal agreed to go to, thought it was comfortable running the story, as to why they went and said this to the Wall Street Journal, 4 people, I leave it up to you. You can think of various reasons they might do this. Hence our question here, was this intentionally leaked by the Trump administration? Most of you in our polling think yes, but some think no. All right, speaking of which, I'm going to wrap up that poll. Hey, thanks, Brian Beelman, for the gift memberships. That's really nice of you. Thank you again, Social Sharing LLC and JM. Thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu, our viewer, who thinks he wants to have resistance so he can arrest the mayor and make the other mayors back down from resistance. That's what Benjamin Netanyahu, our viewer, thinks. Thank you, Neil Johnson again. Neil Johnson says Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, has been on every mainstream media saying he is starting with Chicago on day one and every other major city. This is just mainstream media manipulation and spin. Thank you also our member Tyler Roberts. Thank you Panda 3000 for the gift memberships. Thank you Cartoon Maps. Maybe we'll go over the details of these reports one more time. Thank you, Real Change, for the bits. Thank you also, Synonym, for subscribing on Twitch. Thank you, eBiker, for your support on Twitch. There's going to be a lot of talk about this the next few days, guys. And who knows, maybe more reporting. Eric thinks there are illegal people here illegally who are fleeing Chicago right now. Maybe there are. The Guardian had an article come out based on talking about the Wall Street Journal report as well. Trolling says this is classic art of the deal. Hang on a second here. Our viewer Moments in Trading says, once again, this isn't new. For instance, Obama deported over 3 million people in similar raids. That I don't know if that's true. It might be true. I don't know. I don't have that fact handy. Also, we don't even know what these raids are going to be like specifically. The specifics on them. We'll have to see if they happen. Olivia Parmley thinks the Wall Street Journal hates Trump. I don't trust them. Sylvia S. says Trump will not tweet before inauguration if smart. I wonder if he'll tweet about these reports. Let's kind of just go over one more time what these reports say, just so you can hear what they say, and we'll have to see what happens. I'm guessing we'll be on the air Tuesday talking about this, one way or the other. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly. Captain Jerry Donnelly says, leak or a heads up, it will be easier if deportees leave themselves. Okay, so again, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Trump will begin a major deportation operation in Chicago on Tuesday morning, and it will last throughout the week. You can see here from Reuters, Donald Trump's incoming U.S. presidential administration plans to launch a large immigration raid in Chicago the day after he takes office. The Wall Street Journal reported on Friday, citing 4 people familiar with planning. The raid, expected to start on Tuesday, specifically Tuesday morning, says the Wall Street Journal, will last all week, the newspaper said. All week. Adding the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency will send between 100 and 200 officers to carry out the operation. Trump's transition team did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment. But a source with knowledge of the incoming administration's plans said ICE will intensify enforcement across the country, and there will not be a special focus on Chicago or a surge of personnel there. This source said we're going to be doing operations all across the country, the person said. You're going to see arrests in New York. You're going to see arrests in Miami. The New York Post, by the way, is reporting there's going to be multiple operations in sanctuary cities, including New York and Chicago, on Tuesday. So are we going to wake up on Tuesday and start seeing major ICE operations in various cities? Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan, told an event, I believe it was a holiday party, according to the Wall Street Journal, that the administration is going to start right here in Chicago, Illinois. And if the Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside. But if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors or conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him, Homan was quoted as saying. The Reuters also points out that Trump, during his campaign, said within moments of my inauguration, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Something else, a couple other things the Wall Street Journal said in their article. The Wall Street Journal said that the reason, if you're wondering, well, why would he target Chicago? The Wall Street Journal said that the Trump team was looking to target a sanctuary city or cities to make an example of them. Also, Chicago has a large number of potential immigrant targets, and also the Trump team has a big feud with the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, who's a Democrat. Also, the Wall Street Journal reports that the Trump team intends to target immigrants here illegally with criminal backgrounds, including those, many of whom, though, have minor offenses, like driving violations, offenses too minor for the Biden administration to pursue. But the Wall Street Journal said that the people they talked to told them, if anyone else in the country illegally is present during an arrest, they will be taken too. So according to this story in the Wall Street Journal, they're going to target people with criminal records, even minor ones. But if somebody else is there at the arrest and they're here illegally and they don't have, even if they don't have a criminal record, they will be taken too. So that's what the Wall Street Journal says. And the New York Post has their own article tonight. And the headline of the New York Post article is, hold on. The headline of the New York Post article is, ICE officers prepping for big effing operation across sanctuary cities as immediately after Trump inauguration. Hold on one second here. What am I missing? Where is this? Uh-oh. What's happening here? Hold on a moment. There we go. And the New York Post reports that they say that the Trump's ICE Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Department is planning a big effing operation starting on Tuesday across multiple sanctuary cities, including New York and Chicago. This will be a multi-day ground operation launched across sanctuary cities, and that is what the New York Post is reporting. The New York Post also reports that a source told them in certain ICE offices they have stopped making arrests to make room in detention centers for the targets of the upcoming raids. The Trump administration did not immediately respond to the Post's request for comment. Look, the Trump administration could have given a statement to the Wall Street Journal and to Reuters and to the New York Post denying all these reports. Now, they have not denied these reports. And then the Wall Street Journal also says the Trump transition team and ICE didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. So no response to Reuters or the New York Post or the Wall Street Journal from the Trump administration about these reports. Again, they could have just said, that's false. We're not doing that. No response so far. We'll see what the response is if they eventually give some response. I will take a few more comments here. Bing de Boop thinks he won't give much more info than he already has. JG says it's what we voted for. E-Oddity says goodbye criminals. Are we going to see like a big mass televised ground operation in multiple cities on Tuesday? Tammy and David says, I'm excited for the next 4 years. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly, who says, is it a crime to be in any country illegally? I don't know about all countries, but in the Wall Street Journal article, when they say that the operation is going to target people with criminal records, they're not talking about any kind of crime of being in the country illegally. They're talking about other kind of things that people might have been charged with or convicted of. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly. Thank you, By the Fire, who says, send ICE to Denver, please. Thank you also, Kieran, who says, if you thought inflation was bad, just wait. You know, something the Wall Street Journal points out in their article, they say that where is it here? There was something about the economy. Yes, the Wall Street Journal said that immigrant labor is deeply embedded into the U.S. economy, and economists and employers fear a labor shortage if you have mass deportations in industries like construction, agriculture, and the service industry that rely a lot on immigrant labor. The Wall Street Journal also says that they are hearing that other cities with a lot of immigrants, such as New York, LA, Denver, and Miami, are in the administration's sights. Thank you to Leon Yoder for your support. Leon thinks a message must be sent. If you come to the U.S., your first action should not be to break our immigration laws, come legally or don't come at all. Look, maybe Trump is planning a big, showy set of raids on Tuesday to send a message to people who are thinking about coming to the country under him, right? Maybe he wants it to be televised around the world to discourage people from coming here. It would make his life easier as president, given that he wants to keep the numbers of immigrants down, if they don't come here to begin with. That would make things easier for him. So if you think he's doing it to send a signal, then you might think it's going to be some big showy thing. Thank you, Raina Hood, for the gift membership. Thank you to all of our moderators who are here again, by the way. Thanks also, Midnight Owl Houston, for your support. Our viewer trolling says 180 million people want and voted for this. All right, let me just do a last check to see if I have any updates on this. I would certainly not be surprised if we hear more reporting this weekend about this. As I said, now that we have a couple of stories about this tonight, I think that other news organizations are going to be looking to do their own reporting on it. So I would not at all be surprised if you start seeing stories in other publications about this. And maybe there will be new reporting coming out about it. Thomas Schofield says this will not be for show. Thank you, JJ's Digest, who says the Missouri governor signed an executive order to include immigration status in the state's uniform crime reporting system and target non-criminals. I know nothing about that, JJ's Digest, if it is true. That's what our viewer JJ's Digest said. I appreciate that. I'm seeing, hold on a second here. I don't want to get into the details here, but if you go to Missouri, Mike Keogh, governor of Missouri, you can read about it. It says, executive order designation to allow state and local law enforcement to assist in enforcing immigration laws. Directs the director of Missouri Department of Public Safety, designates specific MSHP troopers to undergo immigration enforcement training with an emphasis on preventing illegal immigration, apprehending criminal offenders, and interdicting drug trafficking activities. Anyways, if you want to read this, go to... and then this executive order charges DPS and MSHP with the collection of immigration status within the statewide Uniform Crime Data Reporting System for those charged with crimes in Missouri. Anyways, you can read more about that on Mike Keogh, governor of Missouri. It's a little bit off topic, so I don't want to get too into detail on it. Great Awakening says ACLU preparing lawsuits. Yeah, and one of our viewers mentioned, Sharon Nowlin mentioned that Fox News has a story running now that says the incoming Trump administration is eyeing immigration arrests of illegal immigrants across the country as soon as day one. And they quote, the Fox News article quotes, they mentioned the Wall Street Journal article. And as I mentioned earlier, tonight on Fox News, they asked Tom Homan, Trump's porter czar, about the media reports of a big raid on Tuesday. And Homan replied, there's going to be a big raid across the country. Chicago is just one of many places. On Tuesday, ICE is finally going to go out and do their job. We're going to take the handcuffs off ICE and let them go arrest criminal aliens. That's what's going to happen, he said. That's what Tom Homan said tonight on Fox News. If you have any interest in reading it, Nicola sent me an article. I'm not going to read it right now. That from the Brookings Institution called The Labor Market Impact of Deportations from September 2024. And Brookings Institution argues that research consistently points to deportations hurting the U.S. labor market and leading to worse labor market outcomes for U.S.-born workers. I haven't read the article. I'm not going to get into it right now. But if you want to see that, go to Brookings and look up the labor market impact of deportations. Thank you to Nicola for sending that in. All right, so we have this story to watch. By the way, our viewer Aaron F. mentioned the Chicago, who says, I am just outside Chicago, and said the Chicago Sun-Times had an article today, before these reports came out, saying Chicago braces for potential Trump deportations. But again, this story was not a response to the reports that came out tonight. But the Chicago Sun-Times story did say Chicago is bracing for early morning raids, possibly beginning on Tuesday, as the second Trump administration aims to follow through on their threat of mass deportations, which is interesting. You can check that out at the Chicago Sun-Times. Thanks to Aaron F. for sending that in. Hang on 1 second here. 1 second. So, what's coming up on Tuesday, guys? What is coming up on Tuesday? Monday, we have the inauguration. I'm guessing Trump will issue maybe some executive orders on Monday. Tuesday, are we going to see a bunch of deportation raids in Chicago and other places? I don't know. Leon Yoder says this could be a pressure strategy to pressure illegal immigrants to self-deport. Thank you, Leon Yoder, for your support. Yeah, in the Chicago Sun-Times article that came out today, they say nobody knows for sure when and how Trump and his border czar will begin to deliver on their threat to make Chicago ground zero for mass deportations. The border czar has talked about Chicago before. The Wall Street Journal said that at a holiday event, the border czar told the event the administration is going to start right here in Chicago, Illinois. Thanks, Leo. Leo says if they are only going after criminals, there won't be a mass deportation. Does that mean the millions who entered illegally get to stay? Thank you also to, again, all of our moderators who have been here. AM says actions speak louder than words. All right. Marnie says historic day. All right, well, I don't really have new information to report on this right now. I've given you what I have, what I've seen. I would not be surprised if there's more reporting that comes out about this weekend. But, we have 2 reports suggesting significant raids on Tuesday. Wall Street Journal says they'll start in Chicago on Tuesday. New York Post says raids starting in multiple cities, including Chicago and New York on Tuesday. We'll have to see what happens. I can't tell you more than that. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it'll be a big thing in multiple cities. All right. I just don't know. Like you, I don't know, and we'll have to wait and see. Dr. McRib says this is only the beginning. All right, so we're going to do a stream at some point on the TikTok news. I might do it tomorrow. It's a little late to do a new TikTok stream right now. I think what I might try and do is do a TikTok stream tomorrow. Because we just did this stream. I don't want to come on the air at midnight and do a TikTok stream. So maybe we'll do it tomorrow. But because TikTok could go dark on Sunday. I know. I gotta get off the air and then do some reading about it. But I think maybe better to do that stream tomorrow. Anyways, I'll look at that stuff after this stream. So we're going to start wrapping up this stream. I appreciate you joining our stream tonight. And it's almost Saturday. We're only just about 3 days from Tuesday. A little more than 3 days till Tuesday morning. So we will have to see what happens. But I really appreciate you joining us for this stream. If there's huge developments, I'll come on the air and do another stream. And also, I will post updates that I see on my X account, which is @Lookner. So when I'm not on the air, I post updates there @Lookner on X. You can follow me there for breaking news. And subscribe and follow this channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. Subscribe and follow. And turn on notifications. I don't know in advance when big news is going to happen. Didn't know these reports were coming out tonight. If you want to know when we're coming on the air, the best way is to sign up to our free notifications. They work really well. It's free to sign up. You sign up once. You get a notification sent to you every time we go live. We do it through Discord. The mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat. You can also find that notification sign up link in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook. So sign up for the notifications. and subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV. I really appreciate you watching. I also really appreciate a lot of you have been sending in your comments, letting me read your comments on the air, sending me links, news links. So thanks for watching and participating in the broadcast. Much appreciated. And thanks also to our moderators. Huge thanks. As usual, we have a lot of comments in the chat tonight. A lot of people with different opinions on this. The reason that we can have chat rooms is our moderators. They're keeping things under control. They're keeping things respectful. So thanks so much to the mods for letting us have chat rooms. Sabrina over there on YouTube, and Sarah55, Roberts May Queen, Beth Mythical, thank you. Excuse me. All of our YouTube mods, Linda Belk and Larry on X, also over on Twitch. I got that fire, Mark and NC. Mark HNC. I keep saying Mark and NC. Mark HNC. Sarah and Surly Dev and all of our other mods there and on Facebook. We have had Kay Lowry Body there, Margaret Riley. Hold on a second. I got to click over there. Bud Green, thank you. Anybody else I'm missing? So thanks to all of our moderators. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who donated. So nice of you. You're the ones who keep this channel on the air with your support. So I really, really appreciate the donations. Very kind of you. If you ever want to donate to the channel, you can go to agendafree.tv. Agendafree.tv. But thank you so much. I think I got everybody. I think I thanked everybody. eBiker. Thanks again, eBiker, for your support on Twitch. I think I thanked Cinnamon. Did I thank Cinnamon and Real Change on Twitch? I hope I did. Well, I'm thanking them now, if they're still around. Hey, we also have a chat as well on that you can chat with other viewers when we're not live. It's on Discord. A lot of our viewers like doing it. Check it out. It's free. It's the same link as the notification sign up link. So check out our free chat on Discord. Thanks to our Discord mods for all you do, by the way. Appreciate you, Discord mods. Hey, I would also suggest you might want to follow us on X at Agenda Free TV. I always post when we're going live there. I post schedule updates. I post some stuff about news about the channel at Agenda Free TV on X. And for those who, hang on a second here. For those who watch us on YouTube, I would suggest you turn on the YouTube notifications. Good way to know when we're live. Good way to find out. And hang on a second here. If you want to turn on the YouTube notifications, here's what you do. Here is what you do. It's a little confusing. You wait for the channel to pop up, and then I'll show you. And then you wait for me to show you right here. You got to click this. So after you subscribe, you got to click this bell and choose all notifications. So if you do subscribe on YouTube, make sure you have the notifications turned on. Click the bell and choose all notifications. Oh, thank you to Trixie Silver. Hey, thanks so much, Trixie Silver. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, thanks to our Twitch subscribers over there who support the channel by subscribing, like Chi-Town Bear, Wall Street, Shaggy, Tegrity Farmer Bob, Makin' Bacon 75. Thank you. Clearly Crystal Clear, Jack's Animals, New Dragons, I'm Puff Puff, Love Francis 2, Tatermong. Thank you. All of our Twitch subscribers, thanks. Our Facebook subscribers. Hey, Paul Anderson was modding too on Facebook. Thanks, Paul. Our Facebook subscribers, Eve Richards, Lou Green, Robert Real II, Leanne Ticknor, Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body, all of our other Facebook subscribers over there. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And our YouTube members, like Susie Irish, Joe Hart, Anthony Poff, Naomi Nocturnal, Jimmy ZNJ, UV Lightning, Evelyn in Maine. Thanks for being members on YouTube. Carmen Ruiz, E Oddity, CJC Freedom. Adam Galaxy, Brienne, Jimmy ZNJ, Gen Xer, Sabin Nation, Susie Irish, Mick Burger, Purple Oryx. Member for 37 months. Thanks so much, Purple Oryx. I appreciate that. So nice of you. Peasy Papa Zulu, Aaron Hardy, Jeff Peff, Beam Me Up, CAC 813, Aleppo Gambit, Omega Survival, M, Carbon, Chaz, Shy Lavi. Thanks for being members. Neeby, Lizzie, Kenneth Colton, Brian Beelman, Beep Beep, Jay Nosewitch, Sean C, Marg 9, Jomo 1965, Gen Xer. All of our members, thank you. Jillian B. And of our other viewers, like Javier Valdez. It's going to be a busy week. He is risen. Thanks for watching. Jamie Rowland. Mary McDonald, thanks for watching. All of our viewers, thanks for being here. Trigon, J Mark, and others. All right, so we'll see if there's more reporting this weekend about the Trump administration plans possibly to carry out a major deportation operation or operation starting on Tuesday. The Wall Street Journal says major deportation operation beginning in Chicago on Tuesday morning. The New York Post says starting on Tuesday, deportation, large-scale operation in multiple sanctuary cities, including New York and Chicago. Will we see this on Tuesday, the day after Trump is inaugurated? We'll have to wait and see. But that is it for right now. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.